properly social. Elbows off the table when you're posting that status. Ma'am, I was raised in the South, and I'd rather make you feel old than get slapped by mama. In a fairly new social media world, we're still learning how to function and interact. He wrote on my wall. Well, that's rude. Social media has created a world that no generation has grown up in yet. We are the first. Guinea pigs, lucky us. But there's no new thing under the sun. And what was right is still right today. Proper etiquette, kindness, and humility never go out of style. And the golden rule is still golden. So here's some etiquette, common sense, and Christian tips. My worldview on how to use social media. 1. Post unto others as you want posted unto you. If you don't want people up in your personal life correcting everything that you do, don't be a hypocrite and don't do it to them. James 1:19 says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, read, slow to speak, comment, slow to wrath." Life's too short to let everything get you up in a tizzy. Ephesians 4:26 says, "Be angry and sin not." There is plenty to be angry about on social media, but let that drive you to prayer, not to sin. What sins can you commit on social media? Plenty. Gossip, backbiting, accusing, unjustified anger, bitterness. The list goes on. The rest of that scripture says, "Let not the sun go down upon your wrath." What's the last thing we mostly look at before we go to sleep at night? Our phones, social media. Don't let social media make you go to bed angry. Romans 14:16 says, "Let not your good be evil spoken of." You can post something that's maybe completely innocent, but if it offends your brother or sister, it will lose innocence in their eyes. Some people don't care what you post. Others are like, really? Man? Just ask yourself, is it worth it? Hashtag I will celebrate Christ's birth. Now, let's talk about being offended. Offended is defined as resentment or annoyed, typically as a result of a perceived insult. People can see what they want to see. If they get offended by you breathing, then honey, you just gonna have to say, honey, I'm gonna keep breathing and you're gonna get over it. Everyone these days seems to think that we live by their feelings. They take away the God-given free will that we all have. With some posts, if you feel right in the sight of God and those that you are submitted to, post away. Next, check your motives. Proverbs 21:2 says, "Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts." God knows our true intentions, and if we're honest with ourselves, we know them too. But maybe somebody posts something that you strongly disagree with, and you have the freedom and the liberty to post your own status with a different viewpoint. That's okay. We're allowed to disagree, but watch how you word things. Remember, anyone can read anything. How they choose? Remember, anyone can read anything how they choose. And we all know when you make something vague, it doesn't really work out, does it? Everybody knows what you're talking about. Help us, Lord. Next, disagree with grace. If I disagree with your post or views, I'm not going to say that your dog should die, you sound like a drowning panda, and you have a face that only your mother could love. Really? What does a face have to do with a brain? And more importantly, a soul? Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people." If you have facts, theories, ideas, let's talk about it. But don't be small-minded. Call people names, belittle people's looks or lifestyles. A lack of wisdom and knowledge to carry a healthy conversation is always obvious and distasteful. Therefore, immediately dismiss small-minded comments, okay? Delete, block, unfriend, do what you gotta do. If they're not here to discuss truth or to discuss something of value, and they just want to argue and fight and call names, block it, block. Oh, yeah, blocked it. You don't need that negativity. If someone is genuine and wants to share ideas, then entertain that. We all know when someone just wants to argue or to read their own post. And bitterness has a stink that you can smell through the screen. Try to avoid always and never unless you're 1000% sure. Like, God always comes through. I believe that. But to say blondes never give a joke, now that is just harassed. Blanket statements are no good because you don't know everyone's struggle or story or where they're at in their lives. Also understand worldviews. Not everyone is Christian, nor do they want to be morally correct. But that doesn't mean you can't share your worldview. But it just raises awareness to sharing truth in love with great understanding. Let's talk about the imagination. Corinthians 2:10 says, "For though we walk in flesh, we do not war in the flesh." That status is not about you. Verse 5 says, "Casting down imaginations and everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God." The internet is the easiest tool for the internet to use because it's always in your hand. But what the enemy meant for evil, God used it for my good. Shout out to all the internet evangelists out there. We need to know the imaginations that are against the knowledge of God. You know you are fearfully and wonderfully made and loved by God. But our imaginations can get us in trouble. Oh, they posted that about me. Imagination. And even if they did, it can't stand against the knowledge of God, for he knows his thoughts towards you. Be passionate, but compassionate. You have a right to speak up. Proverbs 31:8-9 says, "Speak up for those who can't speak for themselves." Speak up and judge righteously. If somebody posts something that you disagree with, you have the freedom to say something as a friend or follower of theirs. But pick your battles. Will they even receive what you're saying? Always go the meek and humble approach when choosing to do so. For Psalms 37:11 says, "The meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. There is peace that comes when you do the right thing. People will get a fight on social media, and like Pharaoh, they won't let you go. They will type until you agree. You have that discretion and no one just to end the discussion. Don't be something that you're not. Lying is a sin, and it puts you in a trap to be fake. Fake people don't have real relationships or friends, and it drives them to loneliness. And loneliness only magnifies insecurities. And God says it's not good for man to be alone. Nothing's wrong with putting your best foot forward on social media. But sometimes you just gotta keep it real. And I gotta say this, but don't have a double standard. Social media will call out your lie. Like seriously. Jesus will forgive you, but the world won't, and the internet makes it very hard to forget. We all make mistakes, but be careful posting something that you know belongs under the blood. Deleting doesn't always do the trick. The internet isn't forever, but it is for a lifetime. Philippians 4:8 says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, whatsoever things are lovely, of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, post on these things." Real talk. What's the point of posting negativity online? Social media is like a scrapbook of life. I've never seen someone have a scrapbook and say, "Now on this page, these are all the people who hurt me," and you turn the page over, and this is all the days I had a bad hair day, and oh, that's when I really hated my boss. Want to remember that time. What memories are you letting the world hold on to for you? Lastly, just enjoy life. The world is full of negativity. Life can get you down. So don't feel guilty when you share the blessings that God has given you. Hashtag vacation life, living it up. I worked for this. And lastly, don't forget to follow up your post with hashtag TGBTG. Because we know we would have nothing without him. Well, I'll see you on the internet. God bless. Business, correct in your personal life. Seriously, go. Go, 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 go. No, you're fine. Yeah, sorry about that.